All right, I think we are live. Hopefully everything's working. Fish and friends, what's happening? Hopefully we're working here. If we're working, give me something in the chat so I know we're working here. Making sure. I bet it's working because StreamYard is about 18,000 times easier to use. It's a lot more user friendly. So yeah, let me know as soon as you guys see it. As soon as we're looking live, I don't see any comments. Sup, fellas? Debo, woot woot. All right,
woot,
I think we are. I think we are here. Well, what's happening, Fish and friends? Sorry for the lack of notice on this one. Just kind of a last minute deal. I'm like, you want to go live, Randizzle? Sure. So we're going live.
What was that? Maybe like an hour and a half ago, maybe?
I think I gave people a couple hours notice. I was going to see if we hit our 300. Oh, we did. I said I wanted 300 likes and we go live. So we hit our 300 by 8 o'clock by 7 votes or 7 thumbs up, 307. So thanks, Fish and friends. Glad you guys wanted to see a little live action tonight. So the winning vote was gear stuff. I should have told you that, man. So you could have grabbed some of your gear, but you can go off of I know, I'm sorry. You can go off memory. But I figured tonight, I was actually just out in the garage pouring Swimbait heads. So I put one of those little babies on the old 6 Sense Divine. Looks pretty good. I don't have eyes on it yet, but man, pouring stuff is super fun. Do some cool custom colors and such.
They look super pretty.
So pretty. Look at that. Nice little green and glitter. Yeah, tonight we're talking about some combos. So I grabbed the combos. I figured I'd just talk about some of the combos that I'm using right now. Some of the things I have tied on, and then just kind of go into the rod, reel, line stuff. Randall, you can give your 2 cents on kind of how you use, your stuff, if they're pretty similar or whatnot. And
sure,
I figure we'll go from there. So as we're going through, if you all, Fish and friends, have any questions on combos as far as like rods, reels, what should I use this for? Leave those out there. I'll try to get some questions answered and such, but so you already have a donation. Steve, keep doing your thing. You guys are the best. Well, thanks, Steve. We appreciate you. Where should we start? Let's see. I think I will start with, let's start with the combo that I've actually caught a fish on.
Well, real quick before you do that, it looked like Tanner asked the $1 million question, though.
What's that?
Why did you cut your hair?
It was time. The hair was getting a little wily, a little out of control. So I cut it. I did it. I took all the hair off. Cut it super short. It's gone. And it's a lot nicer because I don't have hair always down in my face and eyes. Let's see. Well, let's go with this one. I haven't caught a fish on it yet, but this is the first one. The rest are tangled. I don't know why. So for some finesse jigs, of course, I'm going to be throwing more finesse jigs this year. That's one of yours truly own special custom creations, the finesse jig. 5/16 ounce is my favorite. I've got some 17-pound P-line tactical on here. Just a little finesse jig like this. Obviously, Randall, you showed me the way of the finesse jig and really opened my eyes up to that a lot. Prior to that, my favorite spring like bottom bouncing deal like this was a Ned rig. I've actually got a Ned rig tied on too, but I mean the Ned rig is, or the finesse jig is just so darn versatile. And there's been so many times where you've come out and outfished me with it. The past few years I've really had to put time in with it, and it's a daggum fish catcher. Let's see. So for the rod, in the recent casting test,
it definitely is.
Go ahead. I think you're just a little bit behind. Go ahead.
So sorry about that. I was just going to say it definitely is a fish catcher. The unfortunate thing is I haven't caught a fish on it yet this year, and I'm just like I'm itching like big time.
Yeah, I haven't either. Most of the places we've been fishing are kind of scummy, algae, vegetation-y still, old stuff left over. So we haven't really had the chance to. I bet we will soon.
Yep.
But let's see. So the rod is that Okuma Psycho Stick. Say that 10 times fast. And this is rated for lures 1/8 to 5/8 ounce. So it's still a nice soft rod. Like I said, 5/16 ounce is my favorite. So it throws great on this. If you try going with too heavy of a rod, you kind of get into that position where it feels like you're flipping a pool cue. And to throw those little bit lighter jigs can kind of be tough. But got that on there. Like I said, 17-pound line. And then the Team Lose Pro SP, that skipping and pitching reel, which has a shallower spool. I can still get a good long cast out of it and have, quite a few rotations left on the bottom of it. So I know that was one thing people were talking about, like, oh, it seems like a waste. What if you want to make a long cast? I can still do that on this, you know, as far as like with the jig. So I don't know, pretty cool combo. I like it so far. Randall, I know
Right.
your
I know
jig
the
your jig
big,
combo is a little different.
yeah, it is a little bit different. I know my jig reel is much, much, much slower than what yours is. I'm trying to think of what it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
It's the it's
This
the
is an 8-3
Revo.
to 1. I went with the burner, 8-3 to 1 on this one. So a quick
Geesh.
guy.
Yeah, mine is, I want to say it's a 5-6 to 1, somewhere 4-6 to 1, something like that. It's really, really, really slow. It's the Abu Garcia Revo winch.
Yep.
When it initially came out, it was really big on the drag system that it had. It was just huge on, we got the super awesome drag system, and I hate to even say it, but that was 15 years ago, maybe more, as to when I actually got that. And that thing is just, it's a workhorse. And I fortunately got two of them. And so I can, switch back and forth in between the two. But the other big difference is I'm not going to throw a jig if it's on anything less than like a 20-pound fluorocarbon. I don't know what it is. I feel more comfortable with that 20-pound. I know you actually did hook me up with a 25-pound fluorocarbon this year, and I need to re-spool it. Last time we were out fishing, I was like, man, look how shallow my spool is right now. I desperately need more line on here, but that's probably the next thing I'm gonna try out is at least the 25, just to give it a whirl and see what happens.
Yep. And I know for a lot of people, they like that a little bit slower reel for jigs, just because of that power, right? Once you start going up in power and in speed, gear ratio, you lose some of that, pure cranking, winching power, which is why that's called a winch.
Yep.
For that, a lot of guys use them for deep cranking. It's like a 5,
Yeah.
I want to say like 5-6 speed or something like that. But
Yep.
let's see. Jonathan Thompson did drop a donation as well. He said, "Yay, I made it to the show." Well, thank you very much, man, for taking time to hang out with me and Randall tonight. Had a good question come up. Fishing the Southeast says, "What $100 7-foot 11-inch heavy fast action rod would you recommend?" I'm trying to think. Probably one of the best budgets. I have the Dobbins Fury Swimbait rod, and I want to say that's a 711 or a 710. The Fury rods, I mean, everybody kind of talks about them and knows them. They are a good rod. They used to be right at $100, like $99, and they recently raised the price. And I think that's because they have been so popular. Solid rod. I like mine. Randy, I know you have the Dobbins Colt. I know you really like it a lot.
Yep, I definitely do. The one thing, I think you could probably get into the baseline, the St. Croix Triumph, for right around $100, if I'm not mistaken. And that's a quality rod. I've had a Triumph spinning rod for I don't know how long, and it never let me down whatsoever. It's got a strong backbone to it for a spinning rod. That's one route I would, maybe recommend going. They have, a whole bunch of levels up above that. If you really like the St. Croix line and you want to try it out, there's definitely a lot that you can get into that family, if you will, and just kind of, be a part of that.
Yep. I know a lot of people like like you like the St. Croix stuff. I honestly don't have many of them. Actually, the Triumph, the new one that they released, I did pick up that for spinning. It's a medium light, so it's a pretty whippy lighter when I was using it for my lighter stuff. I think it's a medium light. Maybe I might actually even be a light, but otherwise, besides that, I don't have anything. I actually did just order one of the new Victory, I think they call them. I've had a bunch of people asking me about that. I figured I might as well get a casting. I have never owned or used a single St. Croix casting rod, so that Victory one, the new one they released, is going to be my first one.
For the most part, I really like them. I will say the Avid X that I got, it just kind of scares me. I feel like, last year we were out fishing and I went to do a roll cast and it snapped right above the upper cork. And you know, there might have been, you know, a little gouge from a crankbait in the blank itself, and you know, something like that. But it's something about that rod specifically. It makes me feel like I gotta baby it. Like I can't, you know, like the rest of my rods, I can't just throw them in the bed of my truck and, you know, take off. I feel like I gotta gently set it down and do this and do that. And I gotta watch out. I don't get any nicks in it by setting it down on some rocks and things like that. So that's my only issue there. I have Premier's Mojo Bass. I really enjoyed those.
Yeah,
Those
I've heard a lot of people talk about those.
yeah,
Like
a little bit over,
$120.
yeah, $120. But um, you know, that's just kind of my take on those. And you know, Abu Garcia's got some pretty decent, you know, rods that, as a matter of fact, my jig rods, Abu. God, I don't remember what the white one is. It's is it the not the Vendetta? That
Veritas.
was
What is the Veritas?
Veritas. Yep. Veritas is what I'm using right now, and it's the newest one. I got it last year, and it's a good rod. I mean, it's sturdy. It's I think it was probably right around that $100 mark. So yeah.
Yeah, they're $100 rods. I've had a couple. I had the Froggen one, and then a 7.2 or 7-foot even heavy. And I had no corals with them. Just don't go. I don't know about the new ones. They actually have a new version. You might be able to see it right there. I picked up one of the new frog versions. They're supposed to be lighter, stronger. One of the old Veritas that I had with the micro guides sucked. I blew out like 3 micro guides on it within like no time at all. So yeah. I wouldn't recommend those. But the regular guide ones, like I said, I had 2 of those, no problems with them. So let's move on to
100%. I agree. The micro guides are no good.
Yeah, on that rod specifically, I have micro guides and others that I don't mind, and I know some people just don't like micro guides. But on that specific rod, back when they had those, like I said, now they've got a new version out. I don't even know if those are micro guides or not. But any hizzle, what else do we got? Okay, let's go into the Swimbait combo. So with water still being cold here, water's been in the low to mid 40s. It's been like what, 50 this week, right at around 50. So we're not going to be over the 50s here for the next probably couple weeks as far as water temps, but it's going to be getting close. So I've been throwing around the Huddleston. So a swim bait, any sort of swim bait where you can do a nice slow roll of it and still get a good action out of it. Not a big, huge flappy action, but be able to slow roll it. And this Huddleston is ridiculous. It's got a big, I forget which version this is, but it's the one with the large tail. So it's the 6 or 6.5 inch version with that large club tail on it. And I mean, it really does just wag. And I had 2 bites on it. One, you can see the teeth mark there on the back of it. I missed. So I didn't get either hookup, but throwing, you know, like big soft baits or big hard glide baits early in the year is just something I don't do. Like I said, I was going to make a conscious effort this year to do that more, so I have. As far as the setup, I've had a ton of people asking me about the Milliken MFer series from 6 Cents. So I grabbed one of those. This is the Zark Special. It's a 7'4", heavy power, moderate action, rated for lures up to 1.5 ounces. And I haven't watched the video yet, but I know Milliken and Zark went down to Texas and destroyed, like, that day they each caught multiple double-digit bass, and Zark, I think, set the record for 13 pounds or 16 pounds, something stupid he caught. I couldn't imagine. So maybe this will bring me some luck, but got that rod. I think this is 17-pound P-Line CXX copolymer on it. So a little bit bigger line. And then the Daiwa Tattooeless CT. That's the new CT version. Sweet reel. I love the combo. It's all EVA in back, so it's a full EVA, which you don't see a lot. So the rod's a little bit heavier out of the gate as far as weight-wise, but it's comfortable. I like fishing it, and it definitely does have that very, for sure, moderate tip, which means that tip is a lot more spongy. It's got a very stout backbone. It's a heavy power, but that tip is still very bendable and flexible. So, yeah, we'll see how this baby does. Randall, you throwing any 6-7 inch swim baits?
Dude, no, I'm scared of those things, but I have thrown a couple of I guess you would call them jointed a jointed swim bait, even though it's not like a hard plastic, it's a soft plastic. And I've actually had some pretty good luck on those this year. A couple days ago, I went out and I caught probably, I don't know, 6, 7 fish all together. And all of them except for one came on like a jointed plastic swim bait. I don't even remember what kind it was. And I'm kicking myself because I know I set the actual like the box that it came in, I set it somewhere, or the container it came in somewhere. So hopefully I can find that, and that way I can get another one, because it just looked almost as good as the one that you just showed. That one you were throwing it last weekend, and it looked just I can't even describe what it actually looked like going through the water. It looked
those were
silky
unique
or smooth.
Yeah, I don't know what those were you were throwing. Those are cool looking though.
Yeah, definitely.
It was like a glide bait mixed with like a soft plastic deal.
Yeah, I know one of them is a Bass Pro Shop one. But yeah, like I said, I'll dig around for those and see maybe if I can find some more as far as, you know, what they actually were.
Cool. We did have another donation come in. Christopher Little says, finally caught alive. Thanks to you and Dizzle, I've gotten the confidence to try. Hey, finesse jigs. We just talked about those. Thank you guys so much. Y'all rock. Well, we have to thank Randizzle for getting me into the finesse jig game. See, changing people's lives one person at a time, Randizzle, getting them into the finesse jig.
And, you know, I just gotta make the road trip down and, you know, do some fine tuning on some of those colors, and, you know, hopefully we'll have a couple of different options here sooner rather than later.
I'm excited. Don't sleep in next time. Come visit old Debo.
Who's sleeping in?
All right, Daniel Wright. I've had your comment up there for a while. Pro Qualifier 2 or Tatula 100. Any good for light lures or skipping? I don't know about skipping. I haven't used those two for skipping. The Tatula 100 100% is a good light lure casting reel. And I've actually got tomorrow. I was going to release it today, but I thought, I'll wait. Tomorrow actually dropping is, oh, no, I'm sorry. I already dropped that video. What am I talking about? I dropped the light lure casting video with me and Randizzle.
Yeah.
Security called. But those were kind of like the budget reels, right around anything $99 and below. And I was actually surprised. There was a couple reels that did better than I thought. And the SLX is one that I've recommended for a long time. It casts light lures really well. And it was actually on the lower end of the results, which I thought was really strange. But the Tatula 100 is going to be next up in the group of reels around that $150, $60 price point. We're going to do some casting distance tests with those. So we'll probably go with light lures. I know a lot of people ask about that. We'll probably go with quarter ounce lures again, and then maybe go into some other stuff and pick like 3 or 4 reels and do both quarter ounce and half ounce, something like that. I don't know, but
what rod did you have that on?
I had it on that Okuma Psycho Stick, the one rated for 1/8 to 5/8.
I don't know. Can I have that rod? It was real nice.
Yeah, it's a pretty sick rod. I'm digging it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We talked, you know, the other day when we were out fishing. I told you my jig rod or my jig combo. I think it's mostly the reel itself is just so heavy compared to what the new stuff is. It really blows me away, like how light everything is and how sturdy it is still at the exact same time. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's one big thing that, you know, like you said, some of those reels and stuff are 15 years old that you have. That's one big thing that they've, you know, within that price range. Those winches were, you know, what, back in the day, a couple $100. You know, those weren't cheap reels. And yeah, and you're looking at a $200 reel now, and you're looking at close to, if not under, a sub 7-ounce reel. You know, so.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, there's been a couple of reels. I mean, a couple of yours that I've, you know, last year I did some castings for you and things like that, and some of those were just, you know, they had this, I mean, it was backwards, you know, I'll start out by saying that the reel was actually on the wrong side. It was on the right.
Only some of them.
But those things were just they were like ridiculously light compared to, what I've been throwing and have thrown for how long,
Yep. Yep. Josh Robbins asked, how's the P-Line Tactical Fluorocarbon? Was thinking trying it for my first fluorocarbon. Should I try something else? If it's your first fluorocarbon, P-Line Tactical is kind of expensive. It's like 20 some dollars. The best 100% pure fluorocarbon, I'm going to say, is the Seagar Red Label. It's like $10 at Walmart, so it's not going to break the bank if you get a backlash and have to cut it out. Otherwise, if you want to go with like a hybrid fluorocarbon, which is a copolymer line coated in fluorocarbon, the P-Line Fluoroclear is a great one. It's soft. It does have stretch to it, so it's not 100% fluorocarbon. So if that's what you're wanting to get into for abrasion resistance, that kind of stuff, I would go with 100% fluorocarbon. I'd go with the Seagar Red Label to start. 100%. And then as you get used to it, you can move up to some of the fluorocarbons that are a little bit softer, like the P-Line Tactical. It is a softer fluorocarbon. You'll kind of notice that if you've not used fluorocarbon, it's going to feel kind of wiry, kind of stiff. So let's see. Mark Thuralt says, picked up some Strike King Bitsy baits. Recommendations for casting 1/8 ounce lures. For me, I don't really mess around with going with the light stuff on a casting reel. So you could go with like a BFS, a bait finesse reel, which are bait casters with a really shallow, really light spool made to cast light lures. So like a lot of trout guys use them. I mean, you can use them for anything you want, but that's specifically what they're designed for, light lures. For me, when it comes to casting light stuff, I go over to the spinning rod. I think it's just a lot less of a headache. If you go over to, this is actually going to lead us into this combo. If you go over to a braid main line with a fluorocarbon leader, I mean, you can do so much with a spinning rod. So like for an 1/8 ounce Bitsy bait, little 1/8 ounce like Ned head deal, this is actually a 3/32. So we're even lighter than that.
Ooh.
You can see there, it's one of those EWG Neds. This is one of Brian's customs. And the cool thing about his is it's probably not going to be able to pick it up on here, but he uses an EWG Ned head hook. And where you can see above that black is actually like a, 30-pound fluorocarbon. He hand ties that thing on there as a soft plastic keeper. So it keeps your soft plastic pulled up on there so it won't pull off.
That's awesome.
How freaking cool is that? Yeah, a lot of work goes into it. Check him out, Brian's Custom Tackle. He makes some awesome stuff. But for me, when I get into the really light stuff, I'm going with a spinning rod. I prefer that. So either a 10 or 15-pound braid, whatever you like of your choice. I like something smooth. This is the Power Pro V2 Slick right there. And then I think this is a 10-pound fluorocarbon leader. Pick a reel of your choice. Really, with spinning reels, I'm not as picky. Just something that's smooth, something that operates well. This happens to be the Okuma Apixer. This is one actually Tackle Advisors shared a link for. I got it for like $32 when they had those on sale. I think regularly they're like $60, 50 some bucks. But it's been a good budget reel. And then the rod is the Lew's. Oops, if I can show it here. My stuff's all wrapped around. But anyway, it's the Lew's Custom Speed Stick. Really, really like those rods from Lew's. Probably my favorite rod from last year, all black rod. But it's a sweet setup. And then for me, it's just like a 7-foot medium power fast action rod. And you can throw all your finesse stuff, 1/16, 1/8. Go ahead. What were you going to say, Randy?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, like, don't try to be like a superhero or something like that and think you can throw it on a bait caster. When we did that last casting video, I had one of my new setups out there and I was like, I'm ready. I'm super excited. I'm going to try this thing out. And first thing, the exact same lure that you were, casting out there, I went and cast mine. Big backlash. So like the big thing is God, I hate to admit it, but for me at least, is I gotta like put my, I guess, somewhat hatred for a spinning rod that always catches all of the other rods in their line and just messes up the whole the whole deal. You got to put that aside and know when to actually pick it up and actually use it. But yeah, I totally agree with those, smaller lures. And
yeah, and once you get into the lighter lures,
back the Bitsy bugs.
Go ahead. Sorry, you're a little behind.
Go ahead.
I thought you were done talking.
Sorry, I was just gonna. I was just gonna say the Bitsy bugs. I saw them at Walmart a while back, and well, quite a while back, and I picked them up thinking that they'd be a good jig, but those were just way too light to be throwing, for what I was actually using them on. So know what you're throwing.
Yeah. Yeah, you throw your finesse jigs on a medium heavy combo, and usually you're going with like a heavier finesse jig. Obviously, that War Eagle jig that you love, it's more of a heavier wire hook. It's more of a heavier wire finesse jig.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get into the lighter stuff, it's not only what rod would I use, but I mean, you have to take consideration line. If you're trying to throw a little light lure on 17-pound line, it's going to be tough, unless you're really used to it. But line, you have to think about the hook size. Make sure you have a lighter wire hook. And then a reel that can cast those, paired with a rod that can actually load that light of a lure. It's the whole system, everything together. It's not just, I'm going to buy one reel that casts light lures, put 15-pound fluorocarbon on it on my medium heavy rod. You're going to be doomed. So it's kind of a whole thing you have to put together.
Right.
My guy, Chris McVeigh, dropped a donation. Chris is an OG supporter from when I had nothing. I mean, no subscribers. Still with me along for the ride. Chris, I've actually got a package for you of stuff, so I'll talk to you later. But Chris, thanks for the donation. I appreciate you, my friend, sticking with me this long. Ryan Van Wyck says, trying to get more versatility out of my frogging combo. What knot do you use to tie a 50-pound braid to 20-pound fluorocarbon? I always use the Alberto. That's my go-to knot. I personally don't ever tie a leader on my casting combos. The only time I will ever do it is if I really feel like I need that braid, like that sensitivity. I'll still use that knot, and I make sure that when I'm flipping and pitching, I don't do it for casting lures. If I'm flipping and pitching, I make sure my knot is like 6 feet from the tip. So that connection knot is never, ever going past the tip. That's how I do it. I know there's other good knots out there. Obviously, the FG knot people love, but I use the Alberto. I mean, for me, it's the easiest. It's the strongest. I've never had issues with it. That's just kind of my deal. Randall,
I'm just gonna say that this is totally on Debo. We talked about it at great lengths before. Like, for whatever reason, I cannot for the life of me get a connecting, like a fluoro, mono, whatever line to like a braid line to actually, when it's a leader. It's just me. I don't know what my deal is. So I just say, forget it. And I go straight braid. Like, the majority of the time I'm going just straight braid.
You are a straight braid guy. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people that just despise other stuff and only use straight braid and still catch fish. I'm under that belief that I think fish can see it, but actually a really interesting, and I think it actually might have been Shannon Gorman, the aquatic biologist, if you guys follow on Instagram. I think he actually said more important is not fluorocarbon versus braid, but the diameter of the line. So, for example, if you're using like a 10-pound braid that has a really tiny diameter versus like a 15-pound fluorocarbon, fish are going to see that bigger diameter compared to that smaller diameter easier. I don't know how true that is. I'm still under like the tent of I like fluorocarbon because it's harder to see, but I don't know. I'm not a fish. Let's see. A couple things here. So Chris Little donated again. Thank you very much, sir. He said, just to say the SLX got shafted in the casting test. I want to see a retest with the SLX or else it's going to be Castgate. Oh, no. It did. I definitely had a headwind for the SLX.
There was a headwind for at least the first. You threw like six different reels that day, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was definitely, the weather was not consistent.
I want to say for like the first 1.5, actually, I've got my numbers here. But the thing is, the Okuma was the second one I used, and it averaged 190. It averaged the best. And the very first cast with the Okuma, even when there was still a headwind, it was 108.5 feet. That's all my chicken scratches there when I averaged all that out. So I don't know. And the thing that I noticed, I think I said that in the video. I hope I did. I did. The thing I noticed was the reels with magnetic brakes performed better overall than the reels with centrifugal brakes. So maybe I was just being too cautious with those, but I've even told people that before. I think magnetic brakes are easier for folks to use, starting out, and if you've got a little bit of wind. So
we just need to make one of those like Mythbusters like casting machines. So if you could just go ahead and get on that.
I know. I love Mythbusters. If I could do like a Mythbusters fishing series, I would love it. If you guys have any recommendations for that, hit me up on Instagram, or after this I put this live on Debo and Dizzle Mythbusters. Hell, we'll even dress up like Jamie Heineman, and who was the other guy? Jamie, and I can't remember his name.
Adam Savage.
Adam Savage, yeah, Adam Savage and Jamie Heineman. You'd have to be wasn't Jamie bald? I think he actually passed away, didn't he? Unfortunately, I think one of them passed away.
No, that was Grant Imahara.
Oh yeah, Grant Imahara did. That sucks. Yep. I love that show. I'm a nerd anyway, but okay, Fisher for Life. What do you guys think of 13 fishing? Before I answer that real quick, Usama Khan donated, said, "Hi guys, I've been trying to catch a bass since the snow melted. Yesterday I caught an 8-pound trout on a Finesse swim bait. How do I catch bass, guys? I don't know. I'm asking you, how the hell do I catch an 8-pound trout? I've never caught a trout anywhere close to that. All the rainbow trout that I've caught have been like 15 inches maybe at the biggest. Man, just keep throwing. Keep bass lures. I keep doing spring lures. There's other guys that have done spring lures. Use those and try to match the waters around you. Randall, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, 100%. Just keep casting, man. The first one I caught this year was a pretty darn big pike, and I don't even know how much that thing weighed, but it had to have been probably close to double digits, just because the gut on it was just massive. And if you follow myself or Debo, when I'm showing up on there, I don't like pike. They're stinky, they're slimy, they're everything, and they got teeth that'll bite you. And it's still, that thing was just fun. And stupidly enough, myself, I boat flip from the shore, not knowing how big it was. Luckily it all worked out, but dude, 8-pound trout, come on now. There's nothing wrong with that for a first fish ice out. So
yeah, pound for pound trout, like rainbow trout around here on an ultralight, are stupid fun. People don't realize, if you've never trout fished, I always kind of like it doesn't look that fun. I got into it a few years back, and even if they're stock trout, it doesn't matter. Like, they fight like heck. They're squirmy, wriggly. They jump. They're a lot of fun. They kind of remind me of smallmouth. But let's see. Fisher for Life. What do you guys think of 13 fishing? I feel like, so Randall's got the hat on. I feel like 13 doesn't get much love anymore. I've used 13 stuff and I like it. I've got the Concept A. I've got, you probably can't see them back there. I think they have rod sleeves on them, but I've got the two Fate Black, those bright green rods that are annoying looking. I've not ever had any problems with any of my 13
You wouldn't say
stuff.
that if they were orange.
If they were orange, I'd love it. Orange is actually one of my favorite colors. So, yeah, I haven't had any trouble with mine. I had the Concept, whatever the bright green one is. It's bright, and that's the only two reels I've used. The Concept A and that one. I know, Randy, you've got the Concept C, right? The white one.
C, yeah. It's like it's not white. It's more of like beige, not beige. I don't even know what color.
That's because you've had your dirty mitts all over it. Used to be white.
Anyway, the one thing, and this is, God, again, I don't even want to like mention this stuff. Like, fishing with Debo, like, I bought that reel, and unbeknownst to me, I didn't really pay attention to how much it was. And then they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you've already spooled that up, so I guess I kind of have to buy it now. So I bought it, and, I'm going out and I'm casting. And like, this was, me fishing the outside, the external braking system is what I knew. And, met up with Debo one day, and I was like, man, I got this. I spent a really good amount of money on it, and I hate it. I can't cast it because it backlash after backlash, because it's just horrible. And he's like, did you set the internal brakes? And I was like, oh, hey, did you see that over there? Look at that guy. He's going super crazy. Pop the side plate open, and surely enough, I did not set the internal brakes. So, Devin, thank you for that.
Hey, I'm happy to help, brother. Happy to help. Sean Wolfgang, I love the picture. Look at him. Looks like he's representing the dink. Sean asks, what's your favorite light crankbait rod and reel? I don't have a ton of light crankbait rods. I have a Daiwa Tatula XT. Those are like, I think they're $99 rods. Love them. I've got a couple of them. I found them on sale. Sounds like a circus up there. Mr. Stubby Dogs. I don't know what the heck he's doing. But I got those on sale for like $70. Great rod. They have a medium light crankbait rod that's awesome. And I'm not saying buy that one, but when you look for a crankbait rod, get something that's definitely soft. And I remember like when I first felt it, I was like, oh gosh, this thing feels way too whippy. But I mean, once you actually start throwing those little light, like 1.0s or even a 1.5, it feels great. I mean, you can just sling it compared to some of the other crankbait rods that I have are a little bit heavier. You can tell a huge difference. So try that if you've not tried like a soft medium or a medium light. There's a big difference in them.
Yeah, it's funny that actually was the follow-up question. I was just going to say my Concept C is on my Avid X. So it's not a budget combo whatsoever. And outside of the rod, I mean, I would keep the reel, but I'd throw that reel with any type of crankbait, regardless of size, and I think it would handle it hands down.
Yeah, I remember you throwing smaller crankbaits on it, and you said you really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I've used that one. Oh, I did. You let me use it that one day. It's a slick reel. It's like a nicer Concept A, really, is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So next up, we're going to go with the jerkbait. I have not caught anything on a jerkbait yet this year. I tried throwing a jerkbait the other day. This is actually just one that I painted. I wanted to test the blank, but I don't know. The wind was whipping like 1,700,000 miles per hour where I was trying to throw it, and it just didn't work out. But that's a little custom guy that I painted. But I was actually throwing it on this Lew's TP1X speed stick, the new white Lew's rods. Had a bunch of questions on those. Good rod so far. I like it a lot. It's a little bit softer. This is actually a medium power, fast action, 7 foot. I've got another shorter one. I want to say 610 that I was using for jerkbaits, but I just had this one, wanted to try it to see how soft it really was. I put some copolymer on it. That's some P-Line Halo copolymer, so it's a little bit stretchier. And then, of course, that Okuma, what is that? Serrano, I believe is the name of that one. Serrano, yeah. Serrano. That actually was the winner of the light lure casting test. It averaged the best at what, 109.5. So, it's a no frills reel. I like it so far. Jerkbait felt good on this rod. Usually I like something a little shorter. That, like I said, this is a 7 foot. From the bank, I like a 610. If you're in a boat and you're up above the water where you've got the lip of the boat, you can work the jerkbait over it. You can go with a longer rod, but from the bank, I like a 6'10". Otherwise, you're smacking the tip of the rod all the time on the ground. Randy, I think, do you use your Concept C? What do you use for jerkbaits?
Concept, well, actually, jerkbaits. Mixed it up a little bit. I got a Lew's combo. God, I feel bad. You should have honestly let me know that we were doing
Oh, I'm sorry. We hopped
here.
on within 5 minutes of going live. We weren't real prepared. I happen to have
I actually took I don't know 8 rods out of my truck today and took them downstairs and put them on the rack. But I want to say for the most part, I'm gonna either go. I gotta lose speed. Oh God, I don't even remember what it is. It's a Lew's. It's an all black combo. You know what I'm talking about, right, Debo?
Oh yeah, the custom light is the real, and it's the Lew's. Not TP1X. That's the white one. It's the Lew's, the black Lew's with the wind grips.
Yes.
Somebody in comments will say it. I cannot think of the name of it right now.
I use that.
TP1
but
black?
my problem with that is I usually have a fluorocarbon on there, and you don't necessarily want that when you're throwing a jerkbait. So the majority of the time, I'll probably go back to the Avid and the 13 fishing combo to throw a jerkbait on there. I got a couple of other ones. The bad thing is,
TP1 black. That's it.
let me just pose this question. Like, so I'll pose this question for Debo and anybody else that wants to answer. How do you make sure and keep your lines straight as far as, you put on at the beginning of the year or the beginning of the season, you put on X, Y, and Z fluorocarbon, A, B, and C mono, and whatever else. How do you remember what you're actually putting on there? A lot of those lines are very similar and they're very hard to, tell what is what. So what do you do, Debo?
I remember most of the time. Most of the time, I say. So there's actually a number of ways to do it. I see some guys will actually put a little, like if you have one of those labeling machines, some guys will put a little label down here on the bottom, or guys will unscrew after they actually put it on. I think Bass Geek actually said he does this after, oh my gosh, after he gets his reel spooled up, he'll put like a little sticker down here and put that on there to say what it is. So like 15F for fluoro or whatever. There's some guys that keep a spreadsheet on their phone. I know. I mean, I guess there's a bunch of ways to do it. Even like a little piece of tape. I actually used to write it on a little piece of tape and just put that piece of tape under the reel foot. Lately, I've been lazy and I haven't done it. I'll admit that I've forgotten on some too. So,
oops. Yeah. So that's my big problem. I remember, was it last year when we took out your dad's boat? You were like, I don't remember what you were throwing, but you said specifically, I think it was mono that you had on.
Yeah, 14
and I was
pound,
like, I don't know, maybe this one has mono on it, but I just didn't remember. I didn't know, and that's an easy way to remember that.
Yep. Yeah, that's good. We'll see what everybody else says. I'm way behind in comments, so people are probably answering you, but let's see. We've got people talking about line. I'm that far behind. I'm still on people talking about line. This was at 8:12. I'm only about a half hour behind. Try Falcon rods. I have not tried any. Actually, I have the Falcon M1, I think it is, the Swimbait rod. It's a sick rod. I like it a lot, but that's it. Pima623 says, Dizzle, your hamster, the hamster running your internet is slowing down again.
He's tired, man. He runs often.
He runs a lot. Yeah, he's got a lot to do over there. Let's see. Questions there. Got people talking about the Revo X. I like the Revo X. I need to do a full review on it. There's a couple things I didn't like, but I don't know that it's necessarily the reel's fault. I think it was a loose screw, but let's see. Other people talking about rods. Everyone's talking about $200 rods. I'm using $60 to $100 rods. No, not at all. I use a bunch of $100 rods. I try to use everything. I'm not a tackle snob. I am a tackle nerd, so I obviously do have more than I need. But if I find a reel that I like or a rod that I like that's $100, I don't care about price. There's actually one of my favorite rods back there was, I don't know if I have it on me. It might be out of the truck. But it was number 8 Hellbent, which actually was like a sister or like a sub company under 13 Fishing. It was like their budget stuff, and they had like the first 200 customers or some baloney at Gander Mountain. I got that rod for $20. I think regular is like $70. Got it for $20, and that's like one of my all-time favorite rods as far as like general purpose. $20 rod. I never had a single issue with it. Corks worn out. Guides never gave me a problem, but yeah, I'm definitely not into only use expensive stuff. If it works, it works, and I'll tell you guys my opinion.
Yep. 100% agree with that. Like I was saying earlier, specifically for my jig rods, those the Abu's that I've been using for my jig rods, those are not expensive rods whatsoever. The first one that I had, I think, was maybe $120. The second one was $120. I feel like, especially for a jig rod, people have made comments about me setting the hook before. I don't want to go out there with a $400 rod rod and set the hook like that, I feel like I'm just going to break it. You know what I mean? I'm going to use the thing that feels good in my hand. Wait, let's move forward.
PG, Randall. No, I know exactly what you mean. Actually, for the past 5 years, frogging is my favorite thing to do, right? Bar none, my favorite thing to do. Last year, I probably caught more fish on my frogging combo than anything. And every single year for the past 5 years, I've never spent over $100 on a frogging rod. Last year, it was the Lose, whatever that rod is, $80. The year before that, it was the SLX, $80 rod. I've used the Abu Garcia Veritas, $100 rod. The Vengeance, which was like an $80 rod, the black and red one. Before that, it was the Skeet Reese. I had one of the yellow Skeet Reeses. And those I got
the
on
black and yellow.
Black and yellow, yep, for like $40 at Dick's. So yeah, I mean, just goes to show, just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's great. But if it feels good to me, it might be something cheap or it might be something expensive. I'll tell you.
I'll say just real quick before you go forward, Debo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even if you're going out to just like pick up whatever, a quick, I don't want to say like a throwaway rod or something like that, but I made the mistake 2 or 3 years ago. I wanted a new frogging rod, so I went out and bought one, and I didn't do the put it on the ground, bendy test, the whole 9. And even though that thing has the same specs as the current frog rod that I use, the one that I went out and bought that was maybe $70-80, it's a broomstick, and I can't. It's so hard to fish, and I don't like it. So the big thing is don't just go off a price tag. Either hot's got to be better versus I just need something to get me by. You got to try it. You got to feel it. You got to, put in the work to see if it's actually going to be something that's going to work for you.
Yep. Agreed. Natty Greens dropped a donation. Thank you very much. Another Iowa guy here. Your deal disappeared, but I know you were saying you're trying to get your daughter into fishing, 6-year-old. What would I recommend? I would go with a push button, like an old, Zebco type. You can find those used all the time at garage sales or whatever. Or you could go with like one of the kid combos. There's nothing wrong with grabbing one of those. My daughter has one, a Mickey Mouse one or whatever she wanted. What's that?
The Princess or Mickey Mouse, yeah.
Yep, Princess, Mickey Mouse, whatever. She loved it because it was, Mickey Mouse, but they're easy to cast, right? So get them into that. And I didn't even give my daughter anything with hooks for I don't know how long, but just give like the Mickey Mouse one came with like a little red fish that she tied to it. And she loved just casting that thing out and reeling it in, right? And then as I would have like a rod out with a bobber and like a little, worm deal on it, when I'd hook a fish, I'd just give it to her and let her reel it in. So it's like the best of both worlds. She got to practice casting, but she got to feel what it was like, to reel a fish in. So that's my advice. Try to go somewhere where you can catch a bunch of fish. Kids don't care how big they are. At that age, they don't know. Yeah, bluegill, get some wax worms, throw on a bobber, and just let them have fun for a half hour. Keep it short. Don't try to grind out there with them for a whole day. Like if me and Randy are going out, we'll grind for 9 hours. Like as a kid, that just sucks. You don't want to do it as a kid, even if you like fishing. They have a short attention span. So go out for like a half hour, maybe an hour at max. Make it fun to start with. Try to make it fun to end with, and stop there. Go from there. Chris Machado said, "Hey, Debo, love the channel. Dizzle, you're pretty cool as well. Quick question: what is your go-to combo? The combo you never leave home without?"
I don't have to answer that, do I?
I already know it. Go ahead. You already know what yours is without even talking.
It's my jig rod. I'm never going to leave home without it.
So what is it? Is 7 what? Medium heavy?
I want to say it's a 7. I think it's 7 foot. It's a 7 foot medium heavy. And the majority of the time it's 20-pound fluoro with some sort of jig on there with some sort of trailer.
It just happened to be your winch reel, but
Yep.
So for me, like my most versatile combo is going to be like a 7 foot to 7'2". I actually like 7-foot 2-inch the best. Medium heavy rod, medium heavy fast action. So medium heavy power, fast action, rated for lures up to like 3/4 of an ounce or 1 ounce. That to me is like the best do it all rod out there. I would say 15-pound fluorocarbon is my favorite go-to, like to do anything. If you're not fishing around a ton of heavy cover, if it's, you've got a ton of stuff you're fishing around, I would bump it up to maybe 17. But 15-pound is manageable. And then as far as a reel, I like a 7-speed reel. So like a 7 or a 7.5 to 1. It's not too fast, but at the same time, it's not too slow. So you can speed it up if you need to and fish something like a buzzbait, or if you're running a crankbait, you can still slow it down enough to fish that. So I feel like a good middle ground. But
yeah, I'll 100% agree with 97% of that, except for the reel speed itself. This is something that we've kind of disagreed upon for quite a long time. You're more of a burner. I know I had picked up a reel. I don't even know how many years ago this was, but it was like a 8 something, and you're like, that's nothing. And you pulled out a 9, blah blah blah, whatever it was. But I was like, this is way too fast. I feel like even if I'm mentally telling myself to slow down, I'm still just burning it in there. I feel personally for me, something 5, 6 or 5 point something or a 6 point something is more in my wheelhouse.
Yep. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people like Jim, Tackle Junkie, that I talk to a lot. He swears by like a 6-speed reel. Yeah, the same as Randy. Whereas I like a 7-speed. So it's, that's so much of fishing is just what you like and kind of what your opinion on stuff is. There's not a right or wrong way to do it. A lot of the stuff is just what you like. Tanner Phillips asked, thoughts on the Abu Garcia Zada? Well, I actually have the Abu Garcia Roxani, which is the exact same reel, sold exclusively through Bass Pro Shops Cabela's. And I'm going to be doing a review on that. I actually thought I was going to have it done this week. I'm not going to have it done. It'll probably be next week. That and the SLX DC are the two that I've had 18 bajillion people asking for a review on. So I've got that coming soon. It's not the best for the price. I've got a few things that I don't like about it, but it's not a horrible reel. It casts really well. I like the way it casts, but there's a few things that just befuddled me with it. I'll get into that more. Let's see. We've got people asking about certain deals. I'll go over my last. What are we at for time? 52 minutes. I was going to guess we're at like a half hour.
I was just going to say the same thing real quick before you jump into that.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing.
Russ, not sure how to say your last name, but he did ask, have we come across any ponds, lakes, blah, 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 that have had winter kills? Actually, we came across one, what was it, last weekend when we were out fishing. We had noticed more than just a few, or more than just a, I guess, normal amount of, what were they, like bluegill, mostly bluegill, that were floating upside down on the shore. So I haven't gone to, I've pretty much keyholed myself into one lake because I've caught fish on it, and I haven't really left that. Majority of the time I don't like to leave fish to find new fish, but I've been known to do that in the past. So the majority of the time I'm sticking to the same one, and that one has had a few in it. So
yep. I'll answer this real quick. Drew Outdoors says, hey Debo, what rod do you use for the Classic Pro Speed Spool? So that's that $59 reel. Forever I had it on the Shimano Celis, which is a $49 rod, $59 reel. You're right on that line of being a $100 combo, and it's a sweet combo. I like that. As far as like if you want something budget, loved it. The Celis, it's a blue rod, so a lot of people don't like that, and it's also a little softer. So if you want like a stiff, like super sensitive rod, I guess I can't really talk to the sensitivity because you could always put braid on it, and it's going to make it 1,000 times more sensitive. But I had mono on it all the time. Trilene XL, 14-pound mono. I used it for Topwater. I used it for other search baits, and I loved it. As far as a budget combo, I would stand behind that one. Good combo. We got a couple donations coming in. Let's get these real quick. Who we got? Jesse G. Does anyone want to make an inexpensive 2-piece casting rod that I can keep in my truck? Thank you both for everything y'all do. Cheers. Well, Jesse, thank you very much, brother. An inexpensive 2-piece casting rod. I honestly don't own a single 2-piece casting rod. I've had casting 2-piece rods break, where you put the tip piece on. I've had troubles with those cracking. I've actually had my old spinning reels where you cast and like the front half would go flying off because you didn't have it tight enough.
You didn't set it correctly. Yeah.
You didn't put it on correctly. To me, they're just more of a trouble. I understand if you need it for travel, like if you have a car or something. Off the top of my head, I honestly don't know. I'm sorry, man.
I'll just jump in real quick and I'll say, yeah. I don't know how budget it is, but I know St. Croix does. And sorry, I'm not trying to ride the St. Croix train all night long, but I know they do make a, it's specific for like a travel rod itself. And I want to say it's more than a 2-piece. I want to 4 maybe. I don't know. I worked with a guy years ago that went out and bought one because he rode a motorcycle around, the countryside, and every once in a while he wanted to stop and fish. So he went out and bought that.
Yeah, there's a number of them out there. I mean, I don't know. I would hate to tell you one way. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. Dan White, hey, another Iowa guy here, said, still waiting for my first catch. I just bought a red lipless crankbait because of your videos. Thank you for all the content. Well, Dan, I don't guarantee very many things. If you keep throwing that this spring, I will almost, I would say 90% of the time you're going to catch one. Not 90% of the time you go out, but 90% I would say that you're going to catch one on a red lipless. I have a ton of confidence in it, especially around here, stained water. I've only caught one fish on a lipless this year so far, but I was looking back at pictures last year, and I was actually 2 weeks behind when I caught my first fish from last year, almost 3 weeks behind. So we're way ahead of the game. Like I said, Dan, we've still got cold water temps around here. It's going to be warming up. Those fish are going to put the feed bag on pre-spawn. Keep throwing that red lipless, and I'm extremely confident you will catch a fish, man. Faux show. Okay, so my last combo, I have my crankbait combo here too somewhere. I don't know where I put it, my lipless crank combo. So I'll go over this one. This will be the last one since we're at an hour anyway. Of course, spring fishing, my favorite all-time confidence bait, without question, is the spinnerbait. My second favorite thing to throw next to the frog. This is a Cumberland Lures half-ounce spinnerbait. Has worked well so far. I like it. This is on a rod that is pretty sweet. This is the TFO rod, the Tactical Elite. It's kind of cool because these, I don't know how well it's going to show up, but these don't actually even have like your alkanite or aluminum oxide inserts. It's a stainless steel insert with an electro-coated something or other chrome coating over it to make it like super slick. So it's like an insert, but you don't have to worry about dropping it and breaking like your guides, which I have broke. Last year I broke, what, 2 or 3 rods, the guides? I know you broke guides on a rod last year. And I'm not talking about the tip, like shutting it in a car door. I'm talking about like when you bank fish. And I'm not like, I don't mistreat my stuff, but if you lay a rod down or it knocks off a rock or the wind blows it over, just like you last year or last weekend, it blew all of your rods off a park bench. If it blows those over and they hit something hard, there's a great chance that it can crack, break, chip the actual inserts that go inside your line guide. So this one's pretty cool. It doesn't have that. So I'm interested to see how well it'll hold up. I actually had a chance to talk to the guy that makes the rods over at TFO. I had some questions, and he was nice enough to talk to me. I was pretty blown away that they would take time to do that for some nerd like me that's just likes to fish for fun, So sweet rod. It's got wind grips on it. This happens to be the 7-foot. They do put it up here. 7.3 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce fast. So a medium heavy fast rod. Throwing the spinnerbait on it. And then that's the Okuma Komodo. You all have seen that. I did a review on it and stuff already, but using that just to test it out. It's not really going to stay on this for spinnerbaits, but I just wanted to throw it. So, and 17-pound fluorocarbon on there. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, I'm really interested to see how those guides work. That's really, really cool because you don't know. And the majority of the time, the bad thing is you don't know when something something blows over, it's, you know, the 1 time out of 500 that it actually blows over and it hits something just right. And I feel like those normal guides, that little plastic insert, they're just really brittle, and you don't even have to catch them just right. If the majority of the time they're falling, I have to assume they're chipping and cracking and just wearing away. So that's a great idea if they have something in play that will actually work and will actually stand up and, you know, be good for the, you know, the entire rod.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. And I forgot, I think it was like electroplated. I should have wrote all of it down. It was a super fun conversation. I was like nerding out all over it, but I'm like, well, my big thing is like, I used to have a bunch of the cheap rods, where it was just like just the stainless steel guide, like there wasn't an insert in it. And I'm like, I actually had a couple of those where using braid, like if you use braid and silk, it's not actually the braid itself won't cut grooves into your guides. Braid is soft. But it's when you get braid in like rivers, streams, dirty, muddy water that has like sandy, gritty silt in it, that silt will get all up on your braid. And when you're reeling it in, or like rivers, if you fish those a lot, when you're reeling it in, it's literally making like a saw, like a little tiny saw for your guides. So they said, nope, we've tested it with braid and stuff, with that electromagnetic chrome plating or whatever they do to it. It makes it harder and gives it that coating, so it's not just like a regular steel, guide. So I thought that was pretty cool. I'm excited to test that out and see how it does. I didn't put braid on it. I put fluoro. That was what I wanted, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how those do. Joseph Palazzo asks, Debo, do you use a medium heavy, moderate fast, or medium heavy fast for spinnerbaits? Man, I go back and forth. There's not an industry standard for rods. So you might have a rod that's labeled medium heavy, moderate fast, but it feels soft. It feels more like a moderate fast, as opposed to some rods might be labeled, and I don't know which one I just said, medium heavy, moderate fast, and it feels just like a rod labeled the other way, medium heavy fast. So I do like a rod.
Talking about those frog rods.
Exactly. Yeah, exact same specs on them. And one has a much more bendy soft tip versus the other that's like a pool cue. Exact same specs, exact same heavy power, fast action, or whatever. So yeah, it just kind of depends on the rod, but I do like a rod that's a little bit softer, with the spinnerbait. That way you don't really even feel the bite a lot of times unless they hit the blades where it stops the thump. But a lot of times you're just going to see your rod start to load up or feel it load up. And I like that. That way I'm not feeling a quick tick and pull it away from them. You just kind of feel that load up and they can, pull into them.
That's honestly one of the cooler things that I've ever seen as it comes to, like, any video on YouTube, is when somebody's throwing like a spinnerbait or something and they kind of zoom in. I know you've done it a bunch, Debo, and every time you do it, I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. I get super excited because all of a sudden you just see that ding, 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 and then the load up of that fish grabbing a hold of it. Dude, it's awesome. I just don't know how to describe it. It's like a very cool thing to actually see when you're not the one that's fishing. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100% for sure. We're over an hour. We still got 270 folks in here. You are truly our fishing friends. That's crazy to me on a Wednesday night. And if there's any of you that are in college or should be doing your homework, make sure you're doing your homework day watching me. But let's see. I want to get a couple questions. Let's do 3 more questions. I'm going to pick one. If you guys have a question that I haven't answered, or there's something really pressing that you want answered, make sure you comment right now. I'm going to go back and pick one that's already out here. We'll probably be on for another, 15 minutes or so, but I want to make sure I get the big questions asked. So, there's one here, and damn it just went all the way scrolling forward, and I just had one. I hate it when it does that.
Yeah.
Let me scroll back. What was it? Brown, no. Let's see. Multiple people saying, hey, they want to just swing in. Anybody that swings in, even if you can't watch the whole thing, I know how it goes with kids. I appreciate anybody who stops in to watch, even for just a couple minutes. It does mean a lot to me and Randizzle. There's multiple people. Oh, hey, 10 Horse Monty's in here. He says, America first, love the War Eagle too. I don't know what he was talking about. Hopefully I get a fish with 10 Horse this year. He might be swinging through my neck of the woods. But, here. America First was saying, I've been killing it on the War Eagle spinnerbaits. War Eagle made stuff, great stuff. War Eagle, if you're watching out there, Randizzle would love to work with you guys. He's probably 100%. Already bought 100% of your the stock that you owe and the amount of jigs that he's bought, but yeah, War Eagle does make really good stuff. I like their spinner baits too. I don't know where that comment went, dang it, but I had a good one picked out and then everything moved. So let's just go forward. Let's see here.
Oh, real quick here, Debo, this is one for you.
Yeah.
Real Fishing asked, what water temps would you consider ideal for topwater action? That's your wheelhouse, so.
Yep. So for me, it's kind of like that 60-degree point. Like once that water starts to get up close to 60 degrees and there's not like an exact turn on. For example, my dad and I, Pops and I were out probably, gosh, it's been probably 5 years ago now. One of the local lakes that we grew up fishing. It was a rough day. I think we'd each only caught a couple fish. We went back in this little cut and it was still early. I had a hooded sweatshirt on with my hood up. So it was maybe, 50 something air temperature. Water temperature couldn't have been that much. So low 50s, I would guess. And we came back on a cut. It was dirty, muddy water. Wind was ripping. And we literally just went back there out of ease of fishing. Like we couldn't fish main points or anything just because it was so damn windy. We didn't have spot lock at that point. So Dad's like, let's go back here and fish. We go back there and I'm like, man, it's muddy. There's a bunch of vegetation. I'm like, this looks froggy. And Dad kind of chuckled like, and he was throwing a worm because of course he loves to throw either a crankbait or worm. And he ends up catching one on a worm right by a tree. And he's, talking crap or something. And I'm like, oh, damn, maybe you're right. I start throwing a frog and I get a blow up on like the second cast. And my dad's looking at me like, what the hell? And I end up catching like 5 frogfish before Dad finally switches. He's like, screw it, I'm switching. And he's not like a topwater frog fishing guy. But I tied up one of my combos with it and we smacked, I don't know, probably each 20 bass on topwater frogs in like low 50-degree weather. But the thing we noticed is there was a stream north end of the lake. There was like a little stream or river or creek feeding into this little deal. It was dirtier water. So your dirtier, stained, muddier water is going to warm up faster. I don't know what the water temperature was there. We should have checked. It didn't even, I was just having so much fun catching frogfish. But I would almost guarantee that water was significantly warmer. And that's why we got on them. The rest, we couldn't get on a bite anywhere else, but we want to try and copy that. I think it was kind of just the right place, right time deal. But oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I mean, when you catch 40 some frogfish in a pocket, and I mean, we've caught a number of decent like 2-pounders. A lot of them were just like 1.5-pounders, but we caught a lot of decent 2-pounders. I think each of us caught one close to 3 as well. And it was just like constant action. So 60 degrees for me is kind of that deal, but yeah, make sure you check like the north side of the lake. Anywhere you're going to have warmer water, even if it's only 2, on big water. Even if it's only 2, 3, 4 degrees warmer, you're going to have more activity there. Or if you're looking for places to fish, your smaller ponds and such are going to warm up quicker than your big lakes and stuff. So if you go out to a big lake and it's not as warm, try hitting some small ponds and they'll usually be a little ahead of the curve. Good question, Randall. What else do we have? Who else?
Oh God, where was it? Never mind. Cancel. I saw it and it went away.
Fishing with Gramps is in here. What did he say? Just got a Dobbin, so he's talking about some stuff that he got. Fishing with Gramps is always in the house. I appreciate you, brother. Onto brown crank, no. Arc rods. I really like arc rods. I used to love arc rods. I've had a little deal with one of theirs. I need to talk about. Kind of turned me off from the arc stuff. But I still like the arc rods themselves. But it was actually more of a customer service deal that kind of made me frown. But yeah, the rods themselves are good. I know you've so Outdoor Fishing Life said, I know you've used a lot of Lew's rods, but the Lew's TP1 Black is a solid rod. Yeah, Randy's got that one. He loves that rod. Out of all the Lew's rods that I've used, it's this one right here. I think I want to say I have 3 casting rods of it. I like them so much. That fell out. That was my microphone. Sorry. I think I have like 3 or 4 of these total. I liked it so much when I was getting them. For the money, I think it's $150 rod, but I don't know what it is. It's about the feel, but that Lew's custom speed stick. It's like that all black rod, and I'm really boring when it comes to rod stuff. So I like that it's just an all black. It's not flashy. It's not annoying color. It's not a bunch of chrome on it, and it's just a boring black rod. And it's sensitive. I used them for jigs. I had one for moving baits. I had my Shimano Scorpion on there. I used that a ton last year. That's my favorite lose rod. I love it. But I know they make the TP1X, like a $99 rod. So far, I've been really happy with it too. So
I'll say that, like, I know that my lose spinning combo that I have, there's just something that makes it feel like the feel of it is just so much better than what the ones I've had in the past are. I've had, and this is gonna, God, this keeps going back to this. Like, I've had a bunch of Fluger combos, like, the presidential, the things like that, the full combo, rod, reel, the whole nine. And those are good. Those are nice. They do what they should do, but they just feel more along the lines of that, broomstick for me anyway. And then that lose gives me kind of that feel of more of like a supple bait caster. It's just they're good rods. I don't know what it is about them. But they're nice. I would definitely, and they're nicely priced. There's nothing crazy or outlandish about them. You can get in there and get something that works for you pretty cheaply.
Yep, I agree. And that's what makes it so tough is when people ask me for recommendations. Like I said, so much of it is personal preference and use. That's why I try to always tell people go get something in hand, because even if I have $100 rod that feels amazing in hand versus somebody hands me a $400 rod that they say this is going to be way more expensive and better, and it feels like crap in my hand, it's just uncomfortable, I'd rather fish the $100 rod all day. I want to be comfortable with something that fits my hand. You can always go braid before it goes away. Rise and Rogue with the donation. Thank you, man. He said, Debo, cheers. You're live. I am still live. Still got 260 people in here. You guys are damn awesome. But get something that feels super comfortable in hand, because if you're out fishing all day, you don't want to have something that's not comfortable. So yeah, comfort.
I got two things real quick just to go along those lines. Debo, I know that you have said in the past of, hey, why don't you go and just do X, Y, or Z, or just order this on Amazon or do that. And I always say, like, man, I want to touch it. I want to feel it. I want to have that thing in my hand. But no, get that look off your face. When it comes to like a rod or a reel or something like that, you're like, why don't you just order it online? And I'm like, I need I'm not be okay. So the next thing,
I get it. No, I get it. I'm that way with clothes. Like a lot of things I'll take the risk on.
100%.
But like for clothes, and I hate shopping, so I would rather do it online. And luckily, my old lady does a lot of that, so she can run stuff back and forth if I don't like it. But yeah, especially for clothes, I have to try it on, and I hate shopping. But I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I know Alejandro, I believe it was, had asked about when I'm throwing jigs, if it's rip wrap or what conditions or where it is that I'm throwing them. I'm gonna throw a jig wherever. Like, honestly, but
he said on rip wrap. He said, "How do you mostly fish your finesse jigs on rip wrap?"
Okay, so with that, I'm so much out of it. Don't follow me. Don't pay attention to what I do, because I don't do anything by the book.
Oh,
What
you do.
I do is
very similar to me.
A lot of it is what just feels right. It's, I'm gonna start out with a big pop, drop, with my jig. And if that's not working, I'll go with the pop, 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 the quick little jerks with it. And then who knows what I'll do after that. I might just do a quick swim and stop, more like a swim jig. I'm just gonna, I like the jig that much. I'm just gonna do whatever I can to, try to catch a fish on it.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like most of the time, I really only go between two. So for me, if I'm throwing a finesse jig around riprap, it's going to be real small, slow hops, especially right now when the water's real cold. One thing Randizzle's always told me is if you think you're going too slow, slow down. And I think I've heard that other places too, but he's constantly reminding himself, what am I doing? I know I'm going too fast. I need to slow down. And he'll start catching fish. So, just a real slow, light, shake hop. And if that's not working, I'll just drag it. Like, throwing a Texas rig in the summer when it's real hot, I'll literally just be dragging that, if you can get away with it on the riprap. But the big thing for riprap is try to go as light as you can get away with. Like, don't just pick up a ½ ounce jig and throw it on riprap from the bank. You're going to get hung up a lot. It's different if you're in a boat, but as light as you can get away with.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I know last year we were out fishing and, you ended up sticking like almost a 5-pounder on a jig. And I was right behind you fishing, or maybe I was in front of you fishing the exact same thing. And I was throwing my custom, 3/8 or whatever jig. And, you come in and you're throwing something just a smidge lighter than me. And the majority of the time,
jig.
Yep, I'm retying a new jig because I keep getting stuck in the rocks, and that's one thing that additionally to the other things I want to try this year, I want to try throwing something a little bit lighter when, I get kicked in the head and realize that I need to be throwing something lighter because the heavier stuff is just getting stuck in the rocks.
Yep, and this is actually, so this one did amazing. This is a little 3/32 ounce Kitech mono spin jig. It's small. I'm talking finesse. Like you see that in my fingers. It's about the size of my thumb. It's very finesse. But yeah, I caught. It was just almost a 5-pounder. I think it was right on 5. Yeah. I think 4.15 or something like that. Basically a 5-pounder on. It was actually a green pumpkin, but I was using like a little drop shot craw deal. So going real finesse, in cold water. So switch it up. Sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. But yeah. So yeah, fishing with Gramps.
I was going to say, I think you were pulling down on the tail when you weighed it, but sure, we'll go with 5 pounds.
I usually do. I usually throw extra lures in the mouth when you're not looking.
Just weights, just some tungsten. It doesn't hurt them.
Throw some tungsten in there, small tungsten, so they can pass it. And no, I don't do that. Anyway, Gramps trying to break the internet here, saying, not going to lie, the Guggen Gold gives my St. Croix Mojo a run for the money. Those Japanese blanks are damn light and pretty good. I've never used a Guggen rod or reel or anything. I couldn't tell you. I know a lot of people like the St. Croix Mojo stuff, but I have heard the St. Croix Mojo is a little bit on the heavier side. So I wouldn't doubt that. I think that's kind of one thing that those are one tick against the Mojo stuff is they are a little bit heavier rod.
Yeah, I've always felt that Mojo is like, I feel like I can use it and I don't have to baby it. If going along the lines of it's a little bit heavier, it's a little bit more stout, I don't have to worry about breaking it, if that makes any sense.
Let's see. Debo, come to GA and shark fish from the beach with me. Oh, where'd he go? There it is. Come to GA and shark fish from the beach with me. The crazy thing is like I've fished salt once and it's just not, I don't know. I didn't love it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm an Iowa boy and the saltwater fishing here in Iowa is really slow. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of the salt. It'd probably be different if I grew up around it and, was a saltwater guy, but I don't know. There's just something to me about like walking back in the timber in the forest, some old creeks, or walking back to some old ponds. Like that's how I grew up fishing. And to me, that just like, it's just the place it puts you in, like as far as in your mind is just unbeatable to me. But
I got to balance on this log or this rock and cast underneath this tree to get into the sweet spot over here versus, nothing against ocean salt fishing, but like I totally get what you're saying there, Debo.
Yeah, and I think it'd be fun. Like there's certain saltwater fishing. And so the reason I say that is because the only saltwater fishing I've ever done, we went to Boston and went out on like a saltwater fishing deal. And it was like they take a piece of calamari, you put it on your hook, and like you essentially were jigging sea bass. Now, the sea bass taste were freaking amazing. We grilled some on the beach over a fire. It was like some of the best fish I've ever eaten. Like literally swimming 2 hours before that, and then toasty fire on the beach at night. That experience was amazing. The actual fishing on the charter boat sucked. Like it was literally just jigging pieces of squid. So like shark fishing or some other fishing might be a lot more entertaining, but that's all I have to base it off of. So I'm probably a little biased, but let's see. Rise and Rogue says, I have a 28-pound bass lake near me. I haven't caught a single bass in it though. Come to Escondido. Where's Escondido? Is that California? And show me how to get them. Or is that Arizona? I don't know. I don't know. If you have a 28-pound bass, I'm guessing he's talking for like a 5-pound bag, 28 pounds.
Oh, I was going to say like 28. Let's go. I'll drive.
Yeah, I don't think he meant a 28-pound bass. If that's the case, damn. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what it is. If it's like a super deep clear water reservoir, I'd be screwed. Like that kind of fishing scares me. Unless we happen to get on. Yeah, unless we happen to get on schooling topwater fish like we hit last year. That was a ton of fun. We need to try to do that again. Okay, I'm going to take one more. We're at an hour 20. I can't believe we still have people on. Here we go. One more. Here it is. Usama Khan. Anyone tried the 10,000 fish headhunters? Damn it, I don't even know what that is. I picked the wrong one.
I have no idea what that is either.
I don't know. 10,000 fish. I know I have like the Sakoshi bug, the 10,000 fish. What's that chatterbait trailer deal? Whatever that thing is. I don't remember. I haven't used it. I'm sorry.
You
we're
sounded
gonna go
like
with
a very Midwest guy right there. What's that chatterbait deal they got going on there?
I am Midwest. I'm Iowa, born and raised. We're going to go with Blockhead Bassin. Mr. Dizzle, do you like taters?
Depends.
I love taters, French fried taters, hash brown taters. I love potatoes. Potatoes and cheese are like, it's hard to do those two wrong. Even like boiled potatoes with cheese. Like you have cheese and potatoes. It's very hard to go wrong.
Why you got to be all about the cheese, man? What you do is you take a little tinfoil dish, you cut up your taters real thin, you get some green peppers or whatever peppers, onions, throw them all down.
Throw them on the grill.
You got to put butter in there, but don't make the mistake of putting too much butter in there because there is such a thing as too much butter. Throw it all in there on the grill, and the thing is you want to go a little bit longer because you want that bottom layer with that almost blackish kind of burnt. Man,
I agree, dude. Taters on the grill, I cook them the same way, and I don't know why I didn't get the other people's to come up. Oh, I guess if you click it on top, it doesn't show up on the screen. If you click on the comment itself, it shows up. I feel like a jerk now that I didn't show everybody else's, but we're going to close on this one. Ray with the donation said, working on some lipless crankbaits, should be sending a batch of blanks your way. Once he gets the molding process down, or Ray, that would be flipping amazing. I would be happy to paint some. But that's it. That's going to do it from us and Ray Dizzle. I hope you guys all had fun tonight. We appreciate you guys and gals a ton, taking time to join us. Everybody who donated, we appreciate it a lot. We'll be going live more. But for tonight, that's it. So, Dizzle, any closing words?
Get out and fish. Hour to fish. That's my whole thing, especially this week. There's been a couple of nights where I've literally had an hour to fish, and I went out and, maybe I caught one, maybe I caught none, but I got out and I did it. But do whatever makes you feel good about yourself or whatever makes you happy in life. Just do it, man.
For sure. Get out and fish, fishing friends. Thanks all for watching. Until next time.